started writing the other day, and I just thought I'd articulate my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read you this one real quick. So, what is the purpose of education? When one is educating themselves, they are expanding their mind, their brain, and how they perceive the world around them. This allows for opportunities, ideas, and creations to be seen that would not have originally been understood or perceived. Education allows you to comprehend and understand why others think the way they think and why they perceive the world in the way they do. This allows humans and their environment to successfully coexist in harmony. Without continued learning, the mind stops expanding and gets trapped into routine and autopilot. The mind stops thinking of new ideas, stops understanding new concepts and ways of living. A trapped and stuck mind means one ceases to live in their full potential and eventually starts regressing as no novel information or ideas are entering. Lifelong learning is liberation from the ideas and the cultural norms that you were thrusted upon during your childbirth and adolescence. The purpose of education. That's just an idea I thought, but yeah, what do you reckon?
I like that.
Yeah, nice. Because yeah, education is such a broad term.
You could even ask, what is education?
Absolutely. What is it? What is education?
Does it mean that you're able to think for yourself? Does it mean that you've been indoctrinated to think for someone else? To think or act on behalf of someone else?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like, as soon as you're born, right, you're indoctrinated into a culture. You don't really choose what culture you get into. You get you arrive into. You're kind of, all the education system that you go through, you're indoctrinated into a system that you have no control over of what you, at the beginning, like when you're young, right? And then as you become an adult, then you can start to choose what you like about different cultures or the education that you received. And so, yeah, understanding education is quite, it's a difficult thing to grasp, because everybody's going to have a different idea of what it means to be educated. And so in my opinion, to be educated means that you are able to think for yourself. Like you said, you're able to strip back your ego and your cultural identity and start, so that you can see that you are the way you are because of the way you were brought up, the way all the influences that you had on your life. You didn't get to choose that. That was thrusted upon you, right? And so, yeah, understanding what is education. And for me, education is not just being able to read and write, and of course that is a part of it, but that is not the pinnacle. And I feel like the education system that we have these days, it's all about how well you can read, how well you can write, how well you can do maths, how well you can regurgitate.
Shit that may not be necessary.
Absolutely. How does a volcano work? It's just like, it's important. Like, it's important stuff to be able to do, but I don't feel like that should be what people are graded on. And that's another thing that's wrong with the education. We'll talk about the solutions soon, but what's wrong about, one of the things that I believe is wrong is like this grading model that we have. And you get a C or a D. Say you get a D and you fail, then you think you're terrible at this subject and you never want to do the subject again. And
it doesn't
interest you, or maybe you don't like the teacher, or maybe you had a fight with your mum the day before the test and you weren't able to do the test properly. There's so many factors in this, and yet we just give a grade and that's it. That's what you receive for that term or that year or whatever.
That could distinguish whether you go to university
or so much.
Anything.
Could distinguish what school you get into, what university you get into, what job you get even. Jobs could look at your grades from high school. So how do we move away from like a grade-based system? And so Finland is actually a good example of this. So have you ever heard of the PISA test? It's the international test that every nation, well, not every nation, but all the nations that decide to participate in. It's like an international standards test.
Okay. I think I've heard of it, but I don't recall what it is.
And so we have a lot of standardised tests in Australia. And so it's the same test for everybody in the class, or everybody at the school, or everybody in the state, or everybody in the nation, like NAPLAN, for example. Finland doesn't do standardised testing. The only standardised test that they do is the PISA, the PISA, the international test. And the education minister came out and said, the only reason we do this test is to show you that standardised tests do not work, because they got the highest in the world, and yet they don't do any standardised tests. And they have shorter school days than everybody else. They have, I think it's a 5-hour school day. They have every 45 minutes there is 15 or 20 minutes of play.
Oh, wow.
The kids don't have these normal exams that we have, where people are sitting in separate desks in a room. And I don't know if you ever walked in on one of those recently at all.
No, recently.
Oh man, I walked into this year into like a HSC, into a HSC examination room, and I just got chills because there's like all this massive room. There was no one in there yet, but this massive hall with probably 100 desks, all just like in lines and rows. There's like single desks all separated, and it just made me think like, wow, we're still doing this, and this is how we're grading our children and allowing them to get into university, or go into jobs or prospects where they have to get a good grade on this.
I remember it because I hated it.
And so the question is like, how do you assess and evaluate a child's capabilities without putting all that pressure on them for one exam, one test? And so there's a way. Formative assessment. So you have formative, summative, and diagnostic assessment that you use in education. And so diagnostic assessment is when you are introducing a new concept or something new and you're diagnosing where they're at, right? And so then you can start to build on that. Then you start to... You ever heard of Vygotsky? Social cultural theory? And so this theory, he has a theory that we have this zone of proximal development. And so you want to find that zone, and that's the sweet spot. And so then from there, you start to push out of that zone. And so, for example, you want to find out what do they know in about volcanoes, for example, again. And so you find out what they know, and then if you want to start teaching more, then you build on what they already know. So you're finding that little zone of proximal development, and then you're trying to push them out the perfect amount. You don't want to make it too hard because then they're going to lose interest. You don't want to make it too easy because they're going to lose interest. So it's that perfect little zone that you want to get them into where they're achieving, but also
They're
interested and working as well. It's not too simple. It's not too hard. And then you find that through diagnostic assessment, and then formative assessment. So over in Finland, they use a lot of formative assessment, which is just the teachers are extremely valued over there, right? So every teacher has a master's of education in Finland. You have to do your master's to be a teacher there. You're getting paid like the same nearly as a doctor as a teacher. And so grades are a lot based on what the teacher believes the student should be receiving, not what they just get on an exam. Okay. And so that's formative assessment. And so I'm a big believer in formative assessment, looking at the process of learning for that student. And so you evaluate how that student is learning and where they are going and how much effort they are putting in. Because is it fair to give a student that works like a dog 100% of their effort to try and to try and understand a concept, and then you've got someone that just understands it naturally but doesn't put any effort in, but they get a better assessment result, but that you see how hard that person is working. Like, who are you going to want in a career on your team? Someone that just does bare minimum to got a good result, or someone that is working hard as they possibly can and putting in all that effort?
Well, both of them.
Both of them, absolutely. But, in the model that we have, that person probably, if they don't get a good grade, they're not going to be looked at.
They won't even be considered.
Because there's no formative assessment model where the workplace can see the teacher's evaluation of that child.
That's a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It has to be worth something.
Yeah, absolutely. Hard work has to be worth something, not just your understanding of the concept.
No.
The way
it's not going to come easy for everyone. There are people who are naturals at certain things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then for example, learning to play the piano. You got a kid that might be a natural. Then someone else is going to have to practice for hours and hours and hours just to get up to the level that this natural is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's saying something. That commitment, that dedication.
Yeah. So evaluating that and assessing that, I think would be important. Really should be one of the most important parts of a child's assessment results, because you kind of, I used to think that, do we even need to assess and do we need to evaluate children? But this is how you can provide feedback to these children as well. When you do have some sort of assessment or evaluation, you can give feedback to a child about how they are progressing.
Yeah.
also to their parents. But I think moving away from that A, B, C, D, E model, getting an A, B, yep, moving away from that and moving into much more about just how are they progressing through verbal, through the teacher, evaluating them through formative assessment. And also like reforming education in the way of taking away bells, taking away like when they're allowed to eat, making them put their hands up to go to the bathroom, giving them autonomy back, right? Giving them back their...
I think that is a big, what you just said, autonomy. That's a key factor in what's missing.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't have any autonomy at school, really. Like, primary school is a bit different, we're not terrible with that. It's like there is a lot more freedom for the children. There's a lot more play. There's a lot more nurturing of the child as a whole, seeing the child as a whole.
Yeah.
And then they get into high school and it just completely changes where, back to that 50-minute periods. Each period you learn this, the next period you learn that. It's like there's no... And there's, teachers are trying to do like this cross-curricular approach where the science teacher and the maths teacher and the art teacher are talking, collaborating so that they can all be teaching around the same concept in all those subjects. But it's not happening, really. I haven't really seen that happening at all in the schools that I've been at because, first of all, there's not enough time for the teachers to be able to collaborate with with their colleagues. To discuss, all right, I'm going to be, let's say, for example, the concept is, I don't like to use the word topic, I like to use the word concept, because with the concept you can go anywhere with that, right? Yeah. Topics are much more narrow. And so with the concept, you have, for example, World War II is what you want to be learning. And so in history, you start learning World War II. In art, you're doing World War II art. In science, you're looking at the different experiments and progressions that were happening through World War II. In maths, you're looking at graphs and numbers about how many Jews there were in each country or whatever. Just like trying to cross-curricular that one concept into all subjects.
That's a really good idea.
And that's the way that it should... That's what people want to happen, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. Because right now it's so isolated. All the subjects are so isolated at school, and so the children are just so disengaged because, as you said before, like the transitioning from one subject to the next and then out of it takes time. Yeah. Instead of just, and that's another thing about good with primary school, right? There's not really those transitions from subject to subject or room to room. You're able to...
Just there the whole day.
Yeah, and that helps children with trauma a lot because they've got their seat, it's not going to be new people all the time, new teachers, they have to build a relationship. And this is why the school that I'm working at now is so successful, is that it's the same room that they're always in, it's the same teachers that are around them, so they get a lot of that continuity, and that supports a lot of children with autism especially. They're able to... Yes, be able to be calmer because they know what's happening.
It's a safe space.
It's a safe space, yeah.
I think that is a big thing as well with school because you do have that, particularly for anxious students, that, they're moving around and bumping into other people in the hallways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you hungry? I've got to wait another 2 periods before lunch because I'm starving.
Yeah, yeah. So we let kids kids just eat whenever they want to eat, go to the toilet whenever they want to go to the toilet. Yeah. And so just giving that autonomy, allowing them to listen to their body as well, and that's something that they're not going to have if they can't.
I think that's important too. Yeah, now that you mention that, just the whole, as a kid in high school, you got to wait. You can't, you might not be able to go to the toilet or whatever. Or you got to ask, and it's that overriding of your physiology.
Yeah, absolutely. You're starving, but you're only you got to wait another hour for the period to end.
Yeah, it's like you can't even think because you're that hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. And then expect them to sit there and learn. Yeah. So there's definitely ways to change the education system, but yeah, I think we seem to have a lot of trauma in Australia. I feel like there's a lot of kids with a lot of trauma. Well, look at our history, right?
Yeah. I mean, what you were saying, I look at things in the way of looking at domestic violence.
Yeah.
Like how many women are being harmed and murdered by their husbands. Like that is really fucked up.
Is the statistics quite high?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
not good.
wow. Yeah.
And this is due to, men having their trauma and not being able to control their emotions and not understanding what's happening in their systems. And this comes back to this is where we can teach people with that type of education system, bodily autonomy, what's happening in your system right now. Okay, you're dysregulated. Let's go and regulate your system. This is how you deal with it. Deep breaths, feet on the ground, whatever it is. Jump in a fucking cold shower, go for a walk, punch the punching bag, whatever it is. And that would change the shape of society in a massive way.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, putting like a boxing bag in schools, just around the classroom so that a child can go out if one of the males is feeling a bit.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I saw this post on one of the local groups, and it was an anonymous post where this lady was asking, my friend's son isn't eating, he's depressed, he won't go to school, and I'm like, he needs to get out into nature.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
all these other comments, like, I'm not saying women don't know how to raise children, of course they do, but for young boys, it's a man that needs to be looking after the young boy, not a woman.
Yeah.
Like, no offense.
Yeah.
I'm sure, God bless them, all of that, all the love in the world.
Course.
But in that situation, it's like a man trying to teach a young girl what to do when she first gets her period.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the same thing.
There comes an age, right, for a boy where they really need their father.
They need that masculine energy. They need to see men. How does this man that I'm looking up to handle this situation? How does he act in that type of, setting?
Yeah.
Can I don't know, can I do the same thing and be just as capable? It's all these things. And it's, for me, knowing when I was younger, not wanting to go to school and all of that, it's like, I just wanted to go out and do my own thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to go on my bike. I wanted to go explore. I wanted to go into the bush. I wanted to swim.
Mates.
Yeah, hang with your mates. Yeah. Sit and talk shit, whatever it is.
The last thing you want to do when you're 15 is sit in a classroom.
No.
It's unbelievable.
Then you get depressed because you're overriding your physiology.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, no, I can't get up and do this now.
Yeah.
And you've got all this energy and then you shut it down.
Yeah. And then the classroom becomes chaotic and teachers are burnt out as well, like all of this has happened, like all this trauma these kids have, or the way that the system is also affecting these teachers. They can't handle that,
Or 30 kids on one
30
teacher.
kids, yeah, it's unbelievable. And then, like getting, even just having outdoor programs daily even, or, twice a week, taking the boys out, going out to build things, or going into nature, going on mountain bike riding. And there's also, like, that needs to change in this education as well. It's like this, the requirements and the mandates that the teachers need to be doing with these children to, for example, like, there needs to be a certain amount of hours of science, or a certain amount of hours of maths, a certain amount of hours of this and that. Yeah. And so changing those mandates and that around the regulatory system as well, about how acknowledging that being out and mountain biking is just as important as sitting in and learning about maths times tables, or
it's also hand-eye coordination, balance,
social skills, there's so many layers,
survival skills.
Absolutely. So I'm a massive proponent of getting kids out of the school as much as possible. And that's another thing that makes it at the school that I work at quite lucky, is that we have a lot of freedom to do that, to go out. We take the cars out all the time and go to the park, or go to a waterfall, or to the beach, or just all of, do that a lot, or go to the gym. The gym's been great, taking the kids there. Hey, for kids that, like, when they first walked in, especially the females, they were extremely shy. They'd never really been in a public place like that before. And so they were standing there and like this with the arms up, making themselves very small. And that was the first day. And then towards the end, man, they were in there and they were gone, and they were just doing their own thing. Good. And so just building that confidence, and you can't get that in a classroom. You don't.
That's important as well, especially for young girls, when they have that confidence, and then hopefully they won't go into a shitty relationship
Exactly.
because they have that self-worth and confidence.
Yeah. And then imagine if women stop going into those relationships, then automatically the men will have to start changing.
They'll step up. They have to.
Because they're going to want to get laid, right?
And
have a partner.
To,
And have a partner.
Do you do things like combat sport or like jiu-jitsu or?
I want to start doing that next year. Yeah, I'm going to start implementing that.
MMA or I don't know.
Yeah, I want to get into some boxing, PCYC maybe. Just seeing what's available at the times, really. And definitely wanting to get the boys into that for sure. And the females if they want to do it. Yeah.
Because I remember I trained Krav Maga for quite a long time, and just seeing, because they would be teaching classes just for women on self-defense. So it's like basically getting out of, sticky situations. And that was great to see.
Yeah.
So for boys, for girls, for men, for women, it's, I think, self-defense is a great way to have that confidence and to stand in your own energy when,
That should be implemented into the curriculum even, I believe.
Absolutely.
That would be fantastic if that was like just how we teach, how regularly we teach maths, we teach that. That would be perfect.
Yep.
There's so many layers of learning in that. The discipline that comes with that as well.
Well, yeah, it's that as well. Discipline, and the thing that just sort of ran through my mind was, because back in the day when we were tribes, there would have been hunting or combat in some way, shape, or form, because there would have been wars or whatever, rival clans, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd have to just, be in your own skin, comfortable in your own skin.
Comfortable in your own skin, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be great doing that. I would love to have I will be doing a program like that next year, but to see all schools run a program like that would be incredible. Yeah.
So what else would you change?
And so we talked a bit about the assessing and evaluating students. Touched on changing the mandates that teachers have, the regulatory conditions about what teachers need to teach.
Yep.
Changing that. Changing the bells and asking to go to the toilet, allowing kids to eat when they want to eat. And changing the structure of the buildings even. They're pretty dark, some of them. They look like they've been, just like these brick buildings, put art all around, allow the kids to take ownership of their building, gardens, allowing the students to think like, this is my space, taking that ownership of that building and of that space. Because it's pretty sad if you think about it, man. If you walk around a school and you see a kid just throw rubbish on the floor, they're not taking any, they don't care. There's no care about the space that they're in. Yeah. And so trying to foster that this is your space and this is a place of learning. This is a place where, but again, that just comes down to meeting the children where they're at, the students where they're at, and having that trauma-informed approach, that allowing them to be seen, allowing them to create that community. And so, it's really hard, I think, for teachers to do that when there are all these mandates on them on what they need to teach and how the teaching hours and how they need to assess and follow that curriculum. I think having a guide is important to have some sort of guide for what teachers should be teaching, but having it so linear, that the Australian curriculum is extremely linear, right? It's all just down this one line, and there's you can't really go like this. The curriculum's not like that, unfortunately. But I do kind of see that there needs to be some sort of guide, some sort of I don't know, it'd be crazy. I don't know, tell me what you think, but what would it be pretty crazy if teachers would just do whatever they wanted with the kids and there was no guidelines or structure or because you go.
I think with guidelines, but it's also, again, maybe that teacher has a different teaching style to the curriculum.
Yeah.
And assessing the class because they're, front and center with the class. They understand the different students and what would interest them, what wouldn't.
Yeah.
So, they should be able to, I won't say make it up as they go, but be flexible with the lessons or lesson structures.
Yeah, but again, like, you know, in Queensland school, in a Northern Territory school, in you know, a Western Australian school, everyone is meant to be learning at the exact same pace, right? And so that's pretty wild. So it's all like,
You can't expect that.
You can't expect that.
That's not sensible in any way. Like Northern Territory is a completely different space to Sydney.
Yeah.
Or Brisbane or Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure now every single state besides New South Wales follows the same curriculum. And so that grade 7s are learning this, grade 8s are learning this. New South Wales has its own, but it's pretty much identical. It's very similar. So again, it's also, there is a part of me that does see that there needs to be a way for allowing students not to get left behind if they don't have like a teacher that is actually going to support them. And so again, I guess it comes down to training teachers in a way that allows them to support a child, where if there's no guidelines, like this teacher might just sit there and teach 5 times tables to grade 10, you know, because they didn't learn them in grade 6 because there was no guideline telling them that they needed to learn how to do basic maths. Yeah.
Yeah, I get.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There has to be progress, obviously.
There has to be progress, yeah. And there has to be some sort... But again, does it come down to where if a child's in the right environment, are they just going to end up wanting to teach themselves because we're naturally curious creatures?
I think so.
Yeah, and so that's the other part where I do believe that in the right environment, with the right role models and the right peers, a child will want to learn.
I remember when a subject interested me, I would dive in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'd study outside of school or whatever it is I could find on that subject.
Yeah. And probably a lot of the time you like the teacher too, that subject.
Yeah. Well, I know in year 4, I think it was. I mean, the funny thing is I was okay at maths. I was in, I think 3rd class I was quite good at it. Then 4th class I had a shit teacher, didn't like maths. So I lost interest in it.
Yeah.
Then was basically, you know, levels of math just very average or below because I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
I could do maths. Then when I did my building course, where we had trigonometry and advanced maths, I fucking flew through it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I honestly believe like we are extremely intelligent creatures where we can, if we want to learn it, we can learn it.
Absolutely.
You know, there's no doubt about it.
Yep.
I really think that you can miss, like, I heard a quote the other day where the new the illiterate of the future will not be those that cannot read or write. It'll be those that cannot learn and relearn. Yeah.
Well, you think look at society now. I think there is a massive relearning that needs to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've got generations. You've got, you know, all the generations from whoever's alive now, 90 to 100, say, 70 to 80, blah blah blah. They were all taught differently. They all experienced different things. They had certain happenings in their lives at those times that made them similar in thought.
Yep.
In a way.
Yeah.
Now, they've become a certain way, and their mentality will not be understood by those older than them or younger than them. So there is that sort of element of the age group. But to work as a community, as a collective, there has to be some common ground.
Yeah.
There has to be something that we can all relate to.
And the world is changing so rapidly right now. You know, trying to keep up with what is happening is incredibly tough.
Things are changing,
so fast. And so if you don't continue to relearn, you're kind of going to be left behind in a sense, or there's not going to be a social cohesion because no one understands anything.
No. Well, look at things like AI and you know,
absolutely,
all the technology that's coming out. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah, there's apparently, like, in this new world where the information is just going to be everywhere, even quicker than what it is now because of AI. refugees, this person thinks that refugees will be the best people to adapt to a new environment because they've traveled, they've already had to pick their life up, move some to another country, completely relearn a new culture, a new language, a new way of living, and so they're the best poised to be able to go out, to be able to go into a new, just to learn and relearn. I don't know if I said that right, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you've moved country, I've moved country.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But exactly. So we're quite good at that too.
We're not the average, though.
We're not the average. Definitely not the average. So, yeah, absolutely. We're not the average, and people that stay in their little bubble, they're the ones that are going to struggle the most, they say.
Oh, I think so. I think that's why I think traveling is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seeing different cultures, experiencing different cultures, even if it's for a month or whatever.
Yeah.
I believe that is absolutely part of human development that needs to be experienced.
Yeah. But again, back to like the refugees, imagine the resilience that you have to cultivate to be able to just leave your home knowing that you'll never go back.
If you had a home.
If you had a home, yeah. Or your country, and then go into a new place knowing that you have no choice but to be here. At least we had a choice. We had a choice to be able to go and do something new, to go travel or to go live in another country. Someone that is a refugee is not leaving because they want to. They're leaving because they have no choice. Generally, yeah. Let's say generally, yeah. Of course, there's going to be outliers, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, so being able to adapt, and I think that is one of the most important skills to teach a child, is being able to see themselves as lifelong learners, that learning never stops. You will continue learning. And the moment you do, man, you're stuck,
That's something that I've surrendered to. I was just like, I'm going to be learning and relearning for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting, right?
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just think about it. You're going to become a new person every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you should, right? And people that don't, they're the ones that'll be left behind. They're the ones that are stuck in there.
Well, even going through a significant change in life. So if you go to in my experience with plant medicine, I've had a number of journeys, and each one is like a layer of I've taken off the onion of the wounds or whatever it may be, and you're not the same person.
No.
That you went in yesterday.
Yeah.
The next morning or next day, depending on how long it is, it's you've healed an aspect of yourself, or you've came to realize an aspect of yourself. Or discovered, and then you can either ignore it, or you can make the choice to go with it and dive deeper, or heal, or whatever. Maybe you healed it, maybe you've just discovered it. So you're we're consistently in flux. And when you talk about atoms before, it's like everything. The universe is in constant motion. You look at this table, for example. Yeah. It's atoms. It's moving on a physical level. Looking at it, it's still as a brick.
Yep.
Or a table.
Absolutely.
But as you said, looking at it under a microscope, and if you were to get an electron microscope, and you could see everything moving, like the atoms and the molecules and the electrons and spinning it.
Yep.
Everything is in flux.
Everything's in flux. Nothing's permanent.
No.
And so why would the way you think ever be permanent? It's always going to be changing. And so, it's kind of beautiful, right? That you're always going to be growing, always changing, always moving forward, hopefully moving forward.
Yeah, and again, that's, what we're trying to do here is to inspire people to move forward and see you're not stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially, as I said before, being in a country like Australia, the opportunities are endless.
So many opportunities.
So many. I've been in Africa, right, in Uganda. I don't know if you've been to Africa at all. Man, what I saw in Uganda, it changed me. I've been to third world nations before and seen poverty, but what I saw in Uganda was just I've never seen that before. Hundreds of kids all the time, just there eating crumbs off the floor, just walking around the streets, orphans, eating crumbs, having a big belly. I said I had a big belly, but skin and bone here, all skin and bone. I said to my wife, why do So I said to her, why do they have a big belly? And she said, oh, when you're starving, the stomach bloats itself and starts to eat on the inside or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I saw this daily, man, daily seeing these kids just starving. And so we went there first just to go as a tourist, we went to see the silverback gorillas in the wild.
The what?
Silverback gorillas.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was an awesome thing to see, but we felt terrible because we paid quite a lot of money to do that. And the money was meant to go to conservation. It's meant to go to the pygmy people that got kicked out of the land because now it's a national park. And so it's meant to go to help them to create economy and all of that. And we get there and people are walking around this, like we paid $1,000 per person it was. And so there's 8 people allowed per group. And so that's $8,000 per day.
Probably a lot converted
per group, man. These people are on like $2 a day if they're working.
Fuck.
Yeah. So huge amount of money.
Someone's
Huge. The government is just raking that in. And so we felt terrible to do that, thinking like we thought the money was going to go to the people, help out, but it was nothing went to them. Like people, it's cold up in the mountains there and kids are walking around with thongs, no shirt on. And like I've got my full on jacket on, like cold. And these kids are just holes in their pants, no shirt on, barefoot, walking around. It was devastating. So we ended up being able to send some messages back to Australia, and my wife sent some messages back to Switzerland. We raised a bit of money, and so enough money to go to a few different schools and buy food and soccer balls, and sometimes we'd be driving and kids would run up to us because this is going to sound really crazy to a lot of people, but the Ugandan people kind of see white people as gods, which is messed up, and I'll give you an example of why that is, or how that is. It's that for an example, there was a blind person in the community there, and so that they don't know what disabilities are, and if you're blind, like, you're shunned from the community because you're no good. And so he was in his own little mud house or whatever by himself for ages, the lowest in the community. One day, 2 white people walked into his house. The next day, he was the most important person in the community because a white person entered his house. Yeah. Wild, right? Absolutely insane. White people are looked at as something more, unfortunately. Like, this is so messed up. It's really, really weird. And so no crime ever happens to white people over there. They do crime to themselves, man. Like, we think like they rob each other or stuff like that, but a white person, nothing really bad happens to them because they're looked at as this other being nearly.
The sky people.
Yeah, it's like some of the communities we were in, man, like they would come up to me after I'd go to the toilet, I'd go urinate, and the kids would come up to see what color my pee is because they didn't think it was the same color as theirs. Yeah. Wild, right? And so this is in 2023, man. Yeah, not that long ago. They would come up to you, like touching your skin, feeling it. So one of the girls said to my wife, like, we're different. And she was like, no, we're the same. She's like, but why are you white and I'm black? And she's like, well, if we cut open our skin, we're both going to bleed red. We're exactly the same. And she didn't understand this concept until she started going more into like, yeah, we have 2 eyes just like you. We'll have 2 eyes just like you. I've got 5 fingers just like you. And she didn't realize.
My ancestors were from the ice.
Yeah, exactly. And this girl did not understand that we are the same species. It's just unbelievable, man. That's in 2023, that understanding was still there in Uganda, that white people were more. Yeah. And so seeing that, man, yeah, I don't know. The English colonized there, and so there's a lot of slave trade going on. A lot of slaves. A lot of people were slaves or getting sent over to different nations to be slaves, and so the culture was just stood on, just like completely pushed down. And so I guess you do it long enough and do enough bad things, you're going to start to think you're worthless.
Yeah.
And so that was eye-opening, man, to see what it is like over there and what those kids have to go through. And some of the schools that we went to, man, there was no desks. It was just like a hut, and these kids they didn't have teachers even. Like the teachers would be sitting in the staff room because they're not really getting paid either. And there's no public education there, which is really interesting as well, because if they're controlling, so the president of the Uganda, or the prime minister, is one of the richest people in Africa.
I think that's the problem with a lot of those types of places, that they've had the English influence or colonized, whatever, but it's not part of their society. It's not part of their mentality to be productive or to be, a student or a worker or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that you're taking essentially tribal people, putting a government there, but it's not filtering down. I think that can become a very mixed up type of society.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And like right now over there, man, there is so much pain in that culture. Like that people talk to you about things that you don't really hear in Australia. Like, of course it happens, but it's so common over there that it's just someone will you'll meet someone and they'll talk about how they got raped. You'll meet someone and they'll talk about how their uncle just died because they got beaten up, or it's just like there's so much pain there that it's just common just to talk about that with everyone, even with strangers like us, And it is so common that the kids there, that 13-year-old women, so you have to walk kilometers and kilometers to get to school. There's only really one paved road, one highway outside of the capital city that you can drive on. It's all just otherwise dirt roads. Girls will have to drop out of school at 13 because they've been picked up on the way home by a man and then raped and pregnant. And that is it is so common over there, man.
That's fucked up.
It's messed up, yeah. There's so much pain over there. So much pain. But really, it's a beautiful nation. The people that we met, they're very giving very caring towards us. But it's just a culture that's just been decimated. Absolutely decimated.
Collective trauma.
It's a full-on collective trauma nation, yeah. And I don't know if you know the history of Uganda, but there was the person in charge of who's in charge right now, the prior one. He was brutal, just killed everyone.
Oh yeah, the nutcase.
The nutcase, man. I can't remember his name.
I forget his name.
Iman or something, Imani or something like this.
Yeah, I don't have it, but
yeah, it's something around those lines. And
he was a dictator.
Dictator.
Quite unstable.
Super unstable. Killed a lot of people.
Wow.
And so then he got taken out of power eventually, and someone new came in. And so that prior guy, he would put a lot of people. He was very public with his with what he did to people. Very public about the brutality that he used. If you don't get in line. And then the new one is very quiet about it, and so he's still not. They're not as bad as they were, but it's still a very corrupt nation to be one of the richest men in Africa, right? To be the president of a country that is so poor. It's crazy.
That happens, especially when you get foreign aid and things like that, and that's channeled into personal bank accounts instead of helping to collect the nation.
I've never seen so many UN cars driving around. Hey, they're everywhere. United Nations.
I think the UN's a bit of a joke, to be honest, these days.
Yeah, they don't seem to be doing too much over there, to be honest. There's cars everywhere. These big Land Cruisers.
100k each.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to Australia, it's the possibilities and opportunities that we have here are just endless. Compared to people over in that nation.
Well, you look at it, even the government assistance. Let's say you've got government assistance, you're on it. You can then go to TAFE, learn something.
For free, right?
For free.
Yeah.
Or
minimal.
Not very much.
Yeah.
Learn a trade, learn a profession, I don't know, whatever it is. And then you can always advance and go back. And, it's... I know now it's things are getting more expensive, but, when I was younger, I lived in a share house, I was studying and working at the same time, and I just kept chipping away, and you don't stop, you make it. That's
absolutely.
Kind of what happens.
Yeah, and we have access to the investment world. We can invest if we want, and very easily.
Yeah, and things like AI now. I haven't done it, but I was looking at the crypto stuff, and it's I don't know. You could use AI to learn the market. And
absolutely.
do all that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like AI can take, as a teacher, AI has been fantastic.
Oh
Like
my
it has
gosh.
taken my workload, reduced it by so many hours a
That's
week.
great, isn't it? For
Yeah.
emails, and you just dictate, then
Yeah,
it edits it, and
all of
that's
that. Yeah, all of that. Even just like creating a PowerPoint. You know, it can
yeah,
just like that. There's this
yeah,
website called Gamma, and you can put in. You can go into ChatGPT, say I want to do a
yeah,
lesson about this. It writes the lesson,
yeah,
put that into Gamma,
yeah,
and it creates a whole PowerPoint with images and everything.
yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And I've done special researching things like trauma and that. I just like use the deep research function.
Oh yeah.
Go into that. Okay, bring me studies. I want to
Mhm.
know like proper scientific,
Mhm.
factual stuff. I want to know who came up with the conclusions, what was
Yeah.
done in the experiments, or
Yeah.
the whatever it was. Bang, 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 spits it out. Like obviously the deep research takes a bit longer,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it saves you so much fucking
So
time.
much time. Yeah. So much time.
And then from there, you just okay, bring me a PowerPoint, or
Yeah.
you know these are the points, and you
Mhm.
can teach on that.
Yeah. Summarize it for me. you
Summarize
know?
it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. When we're coming back into education, what is education what is the future of the job market look like in the future? And so, how do you educate children for a future that you have no idea what it looks like? Now we have AI coming into the picture or in the picture.
That's a good point.
You
You
know,
don't know what it's going to look like,
you,
do we?
you listen to like someone like Elon Musk or I don't know other people that are in that world, and they say like people are predicting that that's not going to really be a job market in the future. It's going to be, but yeah,
There's going to be
there's always going to be
there's
jobs,
always
right?
going to be jobs.
I agree too.
Or
Like
become an entrepreneur.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, and like that's what the way it is going more and more. Entrepreneurial skills, and that comes down to being able to having social capabilities, critical thinking, creative thinking,
How to communicate.
how to communicate. All of these capabilities are what needs to now be embedded into the education. It's like even writing an essay these days, man. AI can pump it out like that.
Oh yeah.
And so
Have you had kids hand in AI essays?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Even just like trying to figure out a math problem, they'll just go on and figure it out with AI. And so, is there a point of trying to stop that? Because I get that the brain isn't going to be working in the same problem-solving way that if you did not have AI. And so, but it's there, and it's a tool.
I remember being stuck with a few things. Well, not so much stuck, but maybe a bit overwhelmed with a certain project that I was doing, or a number of projects. And I just found that using AI to find me certain things that I wanted to read and understand for myself, it took a layer of stress away from me.
Yeah, I get that.
So then I was able to be more in my creative
Yep.
flow, so to speak.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, yeah, what do you see? How do you think education should be, knowing that AI can?
I think it should be used at a certain age.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That could come into the anxious generation's idea of allowing that, now giving that technology.
I think they should learn how to use it and know it's there, but obviously having to develop thinking skills,
Yep.
critical thinking as well.
Problem solving.
Problem solving,
Yep.
exploration, curiosity,
Yeah.
all that sort of thing. I think those are what need to be honed
Yep.
before they could really,
Yep.
let's say, be allowed,
Yep.
whatever. Let's say have access to
it.
A tool like AI.
Yeah, because it comes down to like, I heard a great metaphor. Some guy was like, parents that let their young kids sleep with their phone next to them. It's like, would you let them sleep with a drill right next to them as well? It's a power tool.
Fry your brain.
Yeah, but also just like that, at 12 o'clock at night they get a little ding, and so they're going to look at the phone.
It's the dopamine fix as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and then he used like, it is a power tool. The phone, it's a power tool. You don't let them sleep next to a circular saw. And so why would you let them sleep next to a phone? And this AI can be the same sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's an extremely powerful tool.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
And you know, there was a lot of people that were freaking out about it. Oh, it's like, okay, yeah, it can be used for bad, but it can be used for good. It just is what it is. It's like
is what
money.
it is.
Money's
Yeah.
not inherently bad or good. It just is.
It's like an axe. It can be used to chop wood, or it can be used to
Exactly.
chop someone's head off.
Yep.
And
Or a
so-
gun.
Yeah, or a gun. Yeah,
Used to hunt food or protect, or
yeah,
the opposite.
yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, as like an educator, man, it is really hard for me to understand how I'm going to start to educate these kids and implement AI into the curriculum and into what it looks like. I don't really know yet.
What age do you think they should?
I reckon 14, 15, maybe.
Would they have to develop or demonstrate
That's a good idea.
the right skills
Yeah.
to be able to?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. Demonstrate that they can be responsible enough to use that sort of technology. Yeah,
Because it's quite powerful.
it is so powerful, man. It is so powerful.
Like you can run all sorts of simulations and it just spits it out.
Yeah, it is so powerful, and I think that there's no regulations around it. You know, like a 6-year-old can go and access this sort of technology, which is kind of mind blowing to me, actually.
Yeah, what? That's not really Mickey Mouse's, and I was going to use the example of what, I don't know, what's Mickey Mouse's background or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what a 6-year-old would ask, but
Yeah, I don't know why, but this is just what this is like the LLM, you know, the large language model, which is the ChatGPT, Grok, and all of those Copilot. It's just large LLMs. That's just one part of AI, right? There's so many more to it, so much more
imagine
to it.
what the military has.
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause we're always at least 2 decades behind.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah,
you see today, that was ancient history for the military.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think there needs to be. I reckon there should be regulations around, because the kids are going to lose their ability to problem solve, because every problem that they've got is just going to ask ChatGPT.
No,
Or
you can't.
yeah,
You can't allow that.
no, you can't allow that.
Not allow, but gosh,
It nearly is like that.
it is. Yeah, but that is. I think there sort of has to be some sort of guideline around that, because as much as you don't want to be a dictator in society, there are certain things that are.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to use it for the greater good, but for the benefit, say, of development.
Yeah, because you're an adult and they're a child. You know, they don't know what you know yet.
Children can't make calls at certain ages. They just cannot.
And that's why social media, like when you understand the psychology of social media and how the algorithm works, and like, you know, psychologists, that companies have gotten psychologists into their company to get it as money, views, and as much attention as possible in the algorithm, right? And so there's like a feedback loop that they've done. So I can't remember what it is, but there's like 4 points of how the algorithm works to get the most attention and the most time spent on it. And then, so there are adults that can't handle that addiction, that they're just bottomlessly the doom scroll, you know, just scroll.
Yeah.
And then we give that to a 14-year-old. Well, now it should be 16, but it was 13, I'm pretty sure was the age, but no one was ever listened. It was too easy to get in. So give that to a 13-year-old, and how can you expect them to control themselves on it? It's impossible.
No. I've had a relative that was a young boy who was allowed to sit on the iPad all day, and I used to take it off him.
Wow.
With my nephew.
Yeah.
And
his parents were all good with it.
And now I've heard that, because I've become estranged with my sister, that he's got developmental issues and attention deficit and all that sort of thing. And it's like you cannot give, or you can, really should not, give to a developing mind things that are going to wire the brain in a certain way, because you've got all the dopamine and everything. Then you get this expectancy. His system is expecting all this dopamine, and then it disappears and it goes flat. Then he gets depressed and he wants to scream. And it's a spiral that cannot help.
No, absolutely.
It's going to be very detrimental for his learning style, and
Yep.
Probably many other aspects in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, you can see in the Ancient Generation book, he shows the data of when, I think it was either 2010 or 2012, the like button became a thing,
Yeah.
and the frontward-facing camera was created. And during this time, I think that was the right dates, but it might be a bit earlier. The hockey stick for depression just goes. It looks like a hockey stick. The graph for how many people now have depression.
Really.
Around the same time when the like button and the frontward-facing camera on the iPhone or the smartphone came out. Yeah, crazy, right? Just from those tiny, two little changes in technology.
So people didn't like how they looked.
People were able now to post themselves online and not get likes or get likes, or see how other people are looking.
Yeah.
It was a lot more. A lot more people were now posting what they look like, and so they could either not like the way they looked or they loved the way they looked, and then people saw that and they didn't like the way they looked because that person looked perfect. And so the hockey stick of depression and anxiety, it looks like a hockey stick on the graph.
Wow.
Crazy, right? Just from the like button and a frontward-facing camera. So it sounds so simple technology to us these days, but back then it was revolutionary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Things have changed, man. Yeah, absolutely. Things have changed.
I just remember when I was a kid, in my teens and early 20s even, I didn't give a shit what people thought or any of that.
Yeah. To be fair though, that data is a lot more for women with the depression and anxiety for the like button and the frontward-facing camera. It was a lot more females were on that graph.
The algorithms that show the models and what they should look like. Yeah. Which isn't what they should look like. Yeah. They should just be happy in their own skins. Well, not should. I'm not going to say should. Could.
Yeah. But ideally, they could be happy in their own skin. Everyone should be happy in their own skin. It's what the skin that you were given, right? And if you're not happy in it, you're trying to fight nature, in a sense, saying that nature's not perfect and it screwed up on me. But nature's pretty perfect. Have a look outside. It doesn't really make many mistakes. No. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate being on here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.